My buddy Andrew just flew out all the way from Oakland to help out for 3 days on the boat, and we're gonna try to do the headstay furler. We're gonna take it down, replace the wire, and cut it shorter and add the link plate at the bottom. We're also going to try and get the wind vane mounted. So we just had a nutritious breakfast, keep us powered up through the day, and he's gonna help me film too. He's got kind of a film background. He, by the way, helped me out with some stuff before the Hawaii trip in Oakland. So he's a great dude, and his help is appreciated. And he has a film background, so he's probably gonna, this video might look a little different because there's gonna be the normal like way I do stuff, but he's also gonna help film from his perspective. So yeah. This is the new forestay wire. The first step is gonna be installing a staylock marine eye. This will be at the top. That has to happen before anything else. The question is whether or not that end is usable as is. It's a little, I try to get as straight of a cut as possible. No, I'm gonna do it the right way.
You want to cut it out here?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm just gonna cut a couple inches off of this and try to just get it as straight as possible. It's another good reason to order these maybe a foot or two at least too long. In case you got to do something like this, you have zero stress about now it's going to be too short. So this is like bowed out a little bit here at the end, so I'm going to take off enough to just get rid of all that. And then again, try to get as straight as I can. See it sizzle. Very straight cut. That's actually better than I normally do. And then you can kind of, there's one little straggler. Yeah. Then we'll take the file and get rid of any burrs. Now here's the fitting. Disassemble this. Cone, don't want to lose that. So you first take this and get it on your wire. There we go. I'm gonna place it in the vise. Pretty firm. You can take a wrench or a pair of pliers. I've seen people do it like this, but yeah, that kind of worked. From there, I'll just finish it like this. So you're just taking the outer wires and unraveling them so that you can get to the core. It's something you get better at with practice, and I don't do it often enough to get that smooth with it, so bear with me. This is embarrassing. Okay, there we have it. They're all in the right order. And we unwind that enough to take the cone and slide it on. And this cone is supposed to rest 1/8 of an inch from the edge. I just eyeball it these days. That's about 1/8 of an inch right there. It also tends to slide up a little bit as you rewrap these, so I kind of go a little over. Now, sometimes when you're doing this, due to differences in the accuracy of the machining, sometimes this cone fits in or fits on here a little tighter than others. The tighter it is, the easier this process is, because it doesn't want to slide up and off. But sometimes, like this one, it's a little loose, so it's kind of fighting. It wants to slide up a little bit. So you rewrap, and as you do, if you pull this down, it'll kind of hold the wrap, make your job easier. And what you're trying to do is get these evenly wrapped in their natural kind of orientation. Keep them going clockwise, kind of the way they want to coil. There's a slot in the cone, and you got to make sure that none of these outer strands end up in that slot. Can you see the slot? Yeah, you don't want any of them in there because that'll prevent it from compressing. So you kind of just keep tweaking them around until they're even and none of them are in the slot and they're kind of completely wound the way they're supposed to be. And if you get to this point and you just cannot keep one out of that slot, then you move the slot by just rotating that a bit. Now see, we lost our 1/8 of an inch. And that's because the cone is fitting loosely on the core. So you gotta press it back and hope you don't lose too much progress. The more even you get these, the more the load is equally distributed. That's the importance of getting them even. And you'll never get it perfect, but you want to get it as close as you can. Once you're satisfied, you put this end on and tighten it down. And before final assembly, we're going to undo this and check that none of the strands went into that slot. Don't go crazy. Once it gets pretty difficult, you can back it off and check your work. The distance looks good. You should see some core protruding from the end, which we do. They look evenly wrapped, and none of them have slipped into that slot. This is ready for final assembly. So two things, to seal or not to seal. There are two camps about whether or not to fill the cavity here with sealant. Staylock basically doesn't say you have to, and they say that you can. And my take is that if they're at the deck level, I use sealant because I want to keep salt water out. So like if this were gonna end up like this, you figure, you know, this is upside down. Salt water could conceivably enter from the wire and kind of find its way in and then just sit in here and corrode. Since this one's going to be at the top of the masthead, I'm not that worried about it. Water would have to come down or up from underneath, and I just don't see that happening. Plus there's really no salt water up there, just rainwater. So I'm not going to seal this. What I am going to do is use Loctite, because especially for a forestay with a furler, that's basically the stay that's most likely to end up somehow rotating. Certainly you want to prevent that. We just watched a video this morning about people taking furlers off, and they found that their staylock fitting at the top had almost backed out entirely. So I'm going to use red Loctite, put some on the inside and a little bit here on the outside. You really don't have to go overboard with this tightening. Of course you want it to stay on there, but this is not the holding power of the stay. That happens where those wires bend around the cone. This is just getting on there. So good and tight, but not gonna put my whole body into it or anything. So this is done. So it's time to get this furler off, and so we can put a new wire in it and cut the foil down and install a link plate like this. We're going to put one of these on here and get this drum up higher. We're going to start by making sure we have proper tension on the stay and marking the turnbuckle. Okay, so we got to get this pin out. There's a little washer here I'm going to try not to lose. And then slide that out. You can see the drum kind of drop a little bit. Now, there's supposed to be two. I've already lost one in the drink. So I'm going to take out this remaining one. That'll free up the drum to be hoisted up out of the way. I was able to track down, you can get replacements of these. It's kind of a specialty item. Definitely add some Tef gel. I'm going to reinstall this. Here it's squeaking. Don't lose it. So now the foil is free and the drum is free. So I'm going to go hoist this halyard and tie it off so this is going to stay out of the way. Alright, so we're going to check tension on this. I guess I already marked it, but I feel like it could use more tension. So I'm going to redo that. And either it was cut too long before, or it's stretched out a whole lot, or both. Because it's almost bottomed out, and it's pretty tight, but it's not crazy tight. The guidance you get from Harkin is to try to tension it to the point that the foils are straight as an arrow, they say. If you look up this foil, it's close, but I can see a little bit of a bend. Can you?
A little bit, yeah.
Just a slight sag, right?
Yep.
So I'm just gonna get as close as I can to no sag. Does that look any straighter yet to you?
Hard to tell from here, but how far are you from bottoming out?
Half inch. It looks straighter. It's not perfectly straight. It also feels pretty good. Like by feel, It's about what I'm used to. It's always got a little play to it. The other advice I've heard is you can't get this too tight, basically. If you can keep turning it, then it could be tighter. And I just bottomed out on the tool. Like that's as tight as I can get it with the screwdriver in there. Might be a bigger gap here on the bottom. That's probably good, because that's getting quite hard. And it looks pretty darn straight. We'll mark this here, and when we cut the new one, we're gonna lay out the new turnbuckle between 2/3 and half open, so that when we reinstall it, we'll get this same tension, but we'll only be using 1/3 to 1/2 of the available thread. You don't want to go too far in either direction, because if you end up with the wire too short, you can't attach it at all. If it's too long, you end up with this, where you're bottoming out basically to get the right tension. And then if it stretches at all, you're completely out of luck. But again, too short, you can't even get it connected, which is a horrible outcome, because we'd have to order a whole new wire. We already installed the staylock at the top, we'd have to undo that. But so far, I've never had that issue. This method has worked pretty well. So I'm just gonna put some tape on both sides, like so. And now I'm gonna loosen it to the point where we can get this pin out, and we're gonna take the drum off and try to take the whole foil. So I've helped friends in the past do this same exact project where there's a furler installed, we're adding a link plate, we got to take the thing off, put a new wire in. We pulled the whole thing down assembled, and it was a real bear because a lot of weight is pulling down on the pin at the top. It's very hard to get out. And then of course you're just manhandling a pretty heavy assembly. What we're going to try to do today is take it apart with the stay still up, and then we just have to remove a regular stay. It's TBD whether we're going to try to do the same in reverse when we have the new thing ready to go. I'm not sure if it's going to be possible. So before we loosen this, I'm going to take a halyard and snug it up here to basically act as the temporary forestay. Okay, so that's going to take more and more of the load as we ease this. So I'm going to take a little bit of lube and put it on the threads inside the turnbuckle. So as we loosen, it'll lubricate the turnbuckle and the stud. Hand tight now. We don't have to worry about the pin yet. We can just detach it here. This fitting is going to prevent this from sliding off. This is still held up by a halyard. Once we get this off, we can move this to an easier place to work and actually slide the drum off. And we can cut the wire and get the whole foil off. I don't know which side it'll come off first. And your hand gets tired making all these turns. There we go. Smooth. How dare you?
What's your favorite thing?
How dare you film me right now? Look at this thing.
Where is it?
Look at that. See how tight the clevis pin is? So not only are you fighting friction here, see it's all bowed out, you're also fighting friction this way. It's impossible. I'm trying to, sometimes I got this trick where I kind of like bend. You need a real tight grip. And then if you bend hard enough, it'll start pulling this in. Did it move at all?
It did a little bit.
And then I guess maybe grab some more of it. Slip it. What a joke. Josh was in the last furler video. He's here to save the day. There you go.
You see how you use the back of those channel locks as leverage points?
That's the trick.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man.
You want me like this? Right?
Cutting right by you.
I mean, it's got to be somewhere. But does that work? And then you'll hold the bottom? What's going to happen to the cable once it cuts? Is it going to shoot up into it? It's not going to go. I guess this is all, it's all long. I'm just like, I'm like, I don't want it to like, you know, like everything comes flying
Well,
down.
this won't.
Okay.
Especially if you're like topped off up there.
Well, and I think once we cut it, I can set this down, right?
Well,
I
yeah,
can let
then
someone.
we're gonna immediately just slide it off.
Okay.
You want to cut or hold?
Doesn't matter.
You hold.
Okay.
This spins this way, so if I do this, it's gonna huck everything at you.
Well, let's move the acid.
I should probably do it like this.
Sure.
So it's throwing everything that way. You good?
Yeah.
You might have to do this. Can you give me some more? Woo! Okay, now we can slide it.
Is it going to flying down?
That's what I'm like wondering. I don't really know.
Well, yeah, but once we get to a certain part, it's going to like fling down, I think. I think you should be
Higher?
I think you should be up there, like guiding it as
Under it?
Yeah. We'll just like try to bring it down slowly, because I think once like the tip, do you know what I mean? The weight's gonna.
I can't tell what's gonna happen. My physics
Right. Well, I'll
intuition
try.
is like failing me.
It's flexible. So
I feel like it's gonna be fine. I don't know.
just go with it.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm like worried that you're under it.
I'm not worried about it. Famous last word.
Well, because like, here, we'll get your hands forward. Here.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing
I know,
it.
but yeah, but come down and get your
Yeah.
hands on it. 'Cause when we get to a certain length, it's gonna. Here, you should support it though. Well,
It's fine, look.
all right, all
We'll
right.
go with the plan. You need a cup of cream. Alright.
We got.
I understand like that. I get it. Just didn't know. Ow. Wait.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, that's heavy, man. It's gonna be really hard to get that pin in if we have to hoist it assembled. Alright. I don't love doing this. Makes me nervous. Okay, so this is the old assembly. This is where it attached to the deck. We have it tensioned back to the setting it was at where we liked the amount of tension. Here's the new turnbuckle. That is 2/3 open. If we do this right, when we go to reattach it, we'll have proper tension here with the 2/3 open. So now I just marked this wire pretty much right here. We're only gonna cut off like a 1/2 inch or so. Pretty good. We've got to disassemble these foil sections, and there's a little Allen key and these tiny little screws. When you assemble this initially, you use red permanent Loctite. And this was done, I don't know how long ago, quite like a number of years ago. And the first one we tried really didn't want to budge, and we really don't want to strip these. So we called Harkin, and they recommended using a heat gun to heat up the Loctite, and that should make these easier to get out. So I'm going to try it. They said 30 to 40 seconds of heat should loosen the Loctite, basically kind of melt it. We're going to give that a try. Kind of smells like Loctite melting. That's 40 seconds. That did nothing.
Stripped.
Kind of, yeah.
Do it longer before you do another one.
This one's already loose. This one's good and tight. All right, I'm gonna do a full minute on this one and try it. Yeah, that's a minute. We got a real pickle on our hands. That was a full minute. This one's f***ed. There's just no bite on that one. We're in trouble. Every fourth screw on average does not respond to the heat and solvent. So, and they've started to strip out pretty bad. This is the worst one I think we've got. And we Googled it, and there's a recommendation that if all else fails, you can Dremel out a slot drive to try to use a flathead screwdriver. So we're gonna try that. I'm already starting to touch the aluminum, which I don't want to do. So I'm just gonna... Yeah, we can get a little grip, I think, on that.
Should we hit it with heat?
Yeah. Nope, it's not budging. I feel like one side is deeper than the other. I'm not really getting in there very well on this side. Oh, I think it just turned a little bit. It did. Oh, it's coming. Bam. Does that mean this side is, yeah, okay. This is great news, because we're gonna definitely strip several. And there's minimal damage, if you can see that. We did etch the foil a hair, but a couple of these on the foil I don't think is an issue. This foil is not gonna like fall apart because of that. We're just gonna have to be diligent and heat every one of these as well as we can before we even attempt to remove it. And then I think we're gonna end up with maybe 3 or 4 that get totally screwed, and now we have a method to get those out. The other thing is I have leftover of these screws from the other. I gotta verify that they are exactly the same, but I think they are. So we can replace these ones that we screw up. I don't really want to reuse the other ones, but I think we're gonna have to. It's the only way we're gonna get this thing up this weekend. So we got out what we could. We realized we had 6 that were stripped. So now we're dremeling them out for slot drive. And so far so good. We got 3 done already. We got 3 more. In order to get deep enough to get some bite, you need to kind of, maybe if I had a smaller disc, I could avoid it, but this is what we got. Throw that on there, give her a couple taps. The tapping honestly might be helping too, like to loosen things up. And there it goes. It's real tight. Cool. We're ready to cut the foils down shorter to match the new length since we're adding this link plate. So we've lined everything up. Here's the new turnbuckle assembly at its intended length. This should be where we end up with the right tension. And then this link plate, the pin will go through here. So then we line up the drum, how it will attach to this. We then line the foil up next to this, where its attachment point is in the center of its potential travel. There's no middle hole, so we're kind of right here in the center. And then we have the stay running pretty tightly next to the foil all the way up. And here's the top, and what we want is for the foil to terminate about a ½ inch below this fitting. So we're just gonna mark right there. Just gonna eyeball it because, again, this is not an exact science. We're going to have some wiggle room with those adjustment points near the bottom. It's getting late. I don't know how far we'll get, but we got to disassemble the whole thing and take the top cap off, cut this short, reinstall it. Catch you later. We're back at it the next day. The next step is to cut this top foil down. We have the mark already from yesterday. There's a top cap on this with 2 screws. We're gonna remove that first, make our cut, and then reinstall it. Thank God these are not Allen. Yeah, it comes down pretty easy. These 2 pieces coupled, they go over the wire and then slide in. Cool. We'll take a file to this and deburr it. A machinist told me that, I always just kind of went back and forth. The machinist told me that that will dull your file and you should only go out like this. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've done it this way ever since. That's probably good enough. There we go. It always becomes super obvious once you get it on there that your cut's not straight. See how there's that gap? But, oh well. The important thing, and actually the reason it's more important is you need your holes that you drill to line up with these holes. So if you measure the 1/2 inch they tell you to from this edge, but this edge isn't straight, you might end up misaligned. So you figure the deepest it can get, it's going to be pretty flush on this side. So if I do this, I can line up the hole for that side, and then the next one I just make parallel. So the newer version of this foil has a helpful little, just a slight groove in the center of each side here, which really helps, because then you only need this measurement. You already know where center is. This doesn't have that, so I'm just gonna have to eyeball it. So I'm gonna say right there. I'll drill that hole and then do a test fit, and if it works, then I'll make another one parallel with that line on this side. We decided a little bit towards the center of the middle of this hole should work, so. Test fit it. We're super misaligned. Like really bad. Almost no overlap. Can you see that? Got a grinding wheel, and we're gonna try to flatten this and bring it down a little bit and see if we can make that hole work. It's still misaligned side to side, but this way it's okay. So we're gonna see if it's close enough to get a screw to bite. Definitely. We're in business. And we should be able to get this second one to line up properly, and then we'll be good. So maybe bias north, maybe a little outboard of center. I've always eyeballed these and they've worked out, so I'm gonna try to just eyeball it. I feel pretty good about the center, side to side. You know, I tried to go a little higher and I might have overshot it.
The old plastic bag ruler.
I mean, it's definitely higher. I think it's a little bit too much higher. I'm gonna see if I can make another one. I'm gonna see if I can kind of start it and then just move it over as I go a little bit. I'm pretty happy with that. It's just a hair north. Dude, I think it's a hair south somehow. It's insane. Like, you saw that, right? The hole was like, the punch. Oh, jeez. I think it's gonna work, but Jesus Christ. It's gonna work. It lines up pretty well.
Here, we'll hold it still.
Way better than the other one.
There you go.
take these, they couple around the wire, and they slide in like so. And then we just screw it back in. I am going to reuse these. I didn't strip them. Screw them in. Alright. So now this can slide up and down. And we can start connecting the foil sections. So these are the connectors. They go around the wire in between the sections. And they insert like so and get screwed into both sides. Each connector is made up of an aluminum section like this, as well as an isolator, which comes in 2 pieces and it's plastic. And I guess the idea is to keep the stainless and the aluminum apart to the extent possible. So take one section of the isolator, snap it into this. This goes under, take the top, clip it into the top side, and just slide this into the upper section until the holes line up. Drop of red Loctite. And one of our favorite little Allen screws. It turns out these are number 8 fine thread. We tried to get some replacements and no luck, so we're forced to reuse the screws. I'm gonna do my best to not strip these while I install them, but frankly I'm not too concerned about that eventuality, because this is not going to come off for years and years, until 5 or 10 years probably, and it's a problem for future Colin. By then this furler will be like 20 years old at least, so I might be replacing the whole unit by then, but I will try not to strip these. Same thing over here, drop a Loctite and screw it in. I keep asking myself why anyone would ever choose to use Allen. I think I heard somewhere that it's to prevent people from over tightening things because they're so finicky and easy to strip. So I don't know, maybe you're more ginger with these. So that's one section. We've got, what, 6 total? So we're gonna not bore you with that. We'll check in when that's done. Installing the last foil section, the very bottom, and then we'll be ready to install the staylock. Staylock threaded stud going into a new turnbuckle. So what we're gonna do is leave the drum and upper swivel off while we hoist. So I'm gonna get this on here. That'll prevent the foil from sliding past this fitting. And then I'll probably detach the turnbuckle and everything. So it'll just be this stud hanging out of the bottom. The reason we're going to do it this way is going to make the stay as light as possible, so that when we hoist and I go up to attach the pin at the top, it'll just make that job easier. The more weight that's pulling down on it, the harder it'll be to pull the stay up and attach the pin. So get that pin in, then this will be hanging. Then we'll just come down to the deck, slide the upper swivel and the drum on, and attach this to the end of the bowsprit, and we'll be done. Here's the fitting. I detached it from the turnbuckle. Just gonna take it apart. Get that on. This job's a little easier when you have the wire in a vise. That's why they pay the riggers the big bucks. Take the cone. There's a little bit of friction on this one. Like I said in the last time we did this, you'll get different amounts of friction, and this one's got a little bit, so that's helpful. Okay. I like the look of that. Yeah, when one side's locked in the vise, then this is easier. Yes, all right, and then make sure everything lined up right. And we're looking good. The wires are pretty even. They're not in the slit, and we've got a little bit of core kind of protruding there from the end. So this is pretty perfect. So we're now ready for final assembly. This is down at the deck level, so I'm gonna fill this cavity here about halfway with life caulk. I think there's different stuff you can use. I know that this one's safe to use, so that's what I'm gonna use. Stick a little on the threads too. Final assembly. Little sealant coming out of there is a good sign. It means the whole cavity is filled. And that's it. Good and tight. Sealant coming out. Now this foil won't be able to slide off the stay. So now we can hoist this, and then once it's up, slide this upper swivel on, and then the drum, and then finally the turnbuckle. All right, we're ready to hoist. We've got a halyard tied around the top with a rolling hitch. How's that hitch looking?
It looks good. Good.
Yeah, about 2 feet. About a foot. Oops, there. Yep. Okay, ease it very slowly, like an inch at a time, you know? All right, hoist it some more, higher, right there. Let me take a breather. Oh, I did it backwards.
Okay.
So I gotta be able to get the pin. God damn it. Alright, but there's a way. See, the chances of me dropping this are so high. And then I just gotta bend it.
Okay.
Done.
Okay.
Thank Jesus,
Should I
dude.
try and walk this out?
Don't do anything.
Okay.
You can
Good?
put it wherever you want.
Okay. I think it's good here.
I forgot to undo the halyard.
Well, he gets to go back up.
Dude.
You want me to go up?
If you want to try it.
Love of the boats.
I know. Go up halfway and see how you feel. If you don't like it,
Sure.
give me a break.
Yeah, I'll go.
That's good. And we made it to the spreaders. Almost there. The last step. You made it!
Well, I'm up here.
Okay, the stay is hoisted, and we attached the upper swivel and the drum, and a halyard is holding it up out of the way. I'll put all this together. Leave that in. Basically, I'll get this side assembled, so we're gonna have a threaded stud on the deck and a threaded stud off the stay, and then I'll just pull the stay up and put the turnbuckle in and start tensioning it up, and we're gonna find out if we did everything right. I'm feeling optimistic, so.
Not drop anything in the drink.
No, of course not. How could that possibly happen? In it. Nothing's going in the drink. Cotter pin in.
I just imagine him going flying in the the water.
I'd rather fall in myself than this mother. All right, that's bent. Give this side a little something. How did I do this last time? Whatever. That's all I'm doing right now.
Moment of truth.
All right, I might need your help because we're gonna have to. Just need enough to get it started. You're gonna spin.
Which way?
Lefty for me.
Is that?
Other way. Do you feel a thread going on?
I feel it cross-threading.
Hold on,
There we go. There we go.
It's on?
Yeah, here it's on. Yeah.
Okay, so it attached, so that's great news because it's definitely not too short, and I don't think there's any way that it's too long since it was kind of hard to get on. So I think we're gonna get good tension here without using up too much of the thread. Okay. Tension feels really good. Raise the drum and attach the link plate, then we can adjust the foil height. Take this nut off. Okay, bottoms, we'll have to snug that up. These are gonna hold the drum up like so. We just need to apply these isolators. So we got stainless going onto aluminum here. Allen screws, I'm just gonna put a little Tef gel on them. This is the moment of truth. This is on, this is fixed, tension's good, so far so good. Now it's time to hoist up the foil. And what we're looking for is, there's holes in this thing, they're right here somewhere. We're looking for them to align in a way that gets the foil a ½ inch or so from the top. So if I push this all the way up, that's the top. So there are 6 available holes to choose from. There's these 4, there's one right there, and there's one more set. So this is all the way up. If I just drop it down to this, that's not very much. If I drop down to there, it's gonna be a little more than a ½ inch, but we're pretty good because we kind of measured for between this 3rd and 4th set of holes. And so we did really good. I'm just gonna stick these 2 set screws in and we're done. The nice thing about Tef gel is you can use too much and then it doesn't like set or anything. It stays soft like this. You can clean it up whenever. All right, we're done. We got everything worked out great. We have great tension. This ended up in a good spot. There's also adjustability. If I wanted to add, like we'll see if I need a halyard deflector or something, I can add, I have room for that. So this really went perfectly. And I'm very happy with the height of the drum. You know, if the sail attaches here, it's definitely gonna clear this. We're gonna be able to get a really good angle for this line to come off. We'll be able to attach a block somewhere in a way that this angle will be perfect. So, huge success.